Big group.
Big group. Big group.
It's Big Group, System 7.
The Pipeline Parable. Long ago, there lived two cousins, Alec and Nicholas. They lived in a prosperous village on a beautiful countryside. They shared hopes of one day becoming wealthy men. Like all villages of their time, their village had a cistern for fresh water. Each day, the cistern needed to be filled with fresh water. Filling the cistern was the lifeline for them and their friends, family, and fellow villagers. The village's mayor hired the two cousins to carry buckets of water from the river across the valley. Being responsible for fresh water was the most important and highest-paying job any man could have. Excited with their new opportunity, Alec and Nicholas made a plan to each hike 2 buckets of water from the river 50 times a day over a narrow and steep trail. The cousins were to be paid by the bucket, giving them the opportunity to serve their village and become wealthy men. This was a dream come true. After the first long day, the cousins, nursing aching backs and blistered hands and feet, were surprised at just how difficult the job turned out to be. Alec quickly realized he didn't want to continue this tiresome workload forever. He had an idea. A dream, really. He proposed he and Nicholas construct a pipeline that would deliver continuous fresh water from the river to the village. Alec admitted it would require a great deal of time, effort, and investment. However, he appealed to his cousin. It will not be easy, but it will be worth it. Nicholas immediately passed on Alec's pipeline proposal, telling him, "You are crazy. It could never be done." Nicholas was quite pleased with his newfound income and was willing to overlook the strenuous demands of carrying heavy buckets. His new wages made him the talk of the town, buying drinks and food for all of his envious friends. After just a few months, he was able to buy fine clothes and a beautiful donkey. After taxes, inflation, and paying off his bucket-carrying school loan, he even saved a little money. In fact, he'd already calculated that within a couple of years, he could save enough to own a small cottage, a couple of cows, and perhaps a donkey for his wife. In addition to the steady salary, the job still gave him free time in the evenings and every other weekend to do as he pleased. Pressing forward alone, Alec had to learn how to build a pipeline. He invested in books and attended workshops. He invested in pipe, picks, and shovels, then spent his evenings and weekends building his pipeline. While his cousin Nicholas spent his evenings and weekends living it up with friends in the village, Alec dug ditches and laid what felt like an endless line of pipe between the river and the village. Nicholas and his friends laughed at Alec and tried to distract Alec from his dream. The next 2 years passed quickly. By now, Nicholas was living in a modest cottage with his very own cows, and his wife had a fine donkey. However, he was carrying the buckets of water 50 times a day. He could feel his body steadily wearing out. Nicholas was growing concerned about his ability to keep carrying the buckets for years to come in order to maintain his income. One day, Alec finally finished his pipeline. Stretching between the river and the village, the pipeline delivered endless buckets of fresh water to the villagers 24 hours a day. The sun never set on his enterprise. The constant flow of water rewarded Alec with a continuing stream of income that now required nothing more than regular maintenance. He was free from ever carrying another bucket and making more money than he ever imagined. Whether he worked or not didn't matter to his pipeline. It never stopped making him money. Now, Alec's time belonged to him. He had freed himself. Meanwhile, Nicholas was out of a job. His income stopped, and he found himself starting over as a much older and burned-out bucket carrier in the neighboring village. Still pretending to be rich, he had no other choice but to continue carrying the heavy water buckets. It wasn't long before Alec had similar pipelines built for neighboring villages, leading the wiser, visionary cousin to become a very rich man in both time and money. Nicholas and his friends stopped laughing long ago.